Arsenal's biggest game of the season was also their most controversial. An end-to-end first half followed by a second half of survival. Arsenal have left the Etihad with something, but from the world-class deep block and the new game-changer at left back. As per, let's break it all down and discuss the 5 things we learned from Man City 2, Arsenal 2. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Baz14. Welcome back to your boys channel after a dramatic game at the Etihad where we've got so much to break down. So as per, smash a like on the video if you enjoy and subscribe to the channel if you are new. But starting off with the first half masterclass. Going into the Etihad away, having not won there since 2015, Mikel Arteta knew that he had to do something different. So come the Arsenal lineup, there was a clear change. Ben White on the bench and Jurriën Timber at right back. A Premier League debut for Riccardo Calafiori, defended by a midfield of Partey and Rice. Having started the last 36 Arsenal games in a row, this is the first time that Ben White wasn't in the lineup, but that's confirmed by the reliable Hand Versal. Ben White misses out the starting lineup because of a minor knee issue, with even Mikel Arteta saying after the game he will run through a brick wall for you. We didn't want to play him, but we had to, and I spoke to him. I wanted to protect him. He won't ever tell you he's not fit. But taking his place for the game was Jurriën Timber, and let's just say I was impressed. Nothing to do with a 6.5 rating, with 4 clearances, 3 tackles and 1 interception, despite completing 1 pass all game with a 14% passing accuracy. It's the fact that he was so assured defensively, knowing exactly when to close Doku down and keep his distances. While Calafiori struggled with Savio on the left hand side, Jurriën Timber had Doku locked down. One of Man City's most dangerous players in transition held to only a 6.8 rating, the lowest out of any of the City players. I understand that Mikel Arteta was protecting Ben White, but going into the future, as comfortable as Jurriën Timber is a left back, by naturally being right footed, he's more comfortable on the right hand side, even more composed on the ball and defensively resolute, with the potential partnership growing with Bukayo Saka. I'm not going to say Ben White's in trouble, but I will say the competition is growing. But in the first half where City started the game on fire, 1-0 up after 9 minutes from Erling Haaland. For the first time in all of 2024, Arsenal were behind in an away game. But here's where Arsenal were different because they weren't phased, holding out through the pressure and finding themselves back in the game through a wonder goal, then taking full control and taking the lead as a set piece Kings rose once again. Of course the goal scorer deserves a lot of credit, but what about the provider? Bukayo Saka, the Arsenal captain for the day, providing a 7.0 rating despite playing only 45 minutes. 9 out of 10 passes, 2 key passes and 2 big chances created. Saka now has 5 assists in 5 league games this season, becoming only the second player in Arsenal history after Thierry Henry to start the year with 5 assists in a row. He also now has 22 goal contributions against the Big Six, 1 more than Ruud van Nistelrooy. To be able to provide a consistently elite delivery in a box full of so many players, it makes the job of Gabriel Magalhaes that much more easier, who of course was named the Arsenal player of the match, with another monstrous 7.6 rating after 1 goal scored, 5 clearances, 3 block shots, 2 tackles and 1 last man tackle, 2 ground duels, 2 aerial duels, and 81% of his passes completed. I said it after he last scored against Spurs that it wouldn't be his most important goal. A week later, he then scores a goal at the Etihad. Having also scored at Stamford Bridge, Anfield and Tottenham, he is developing into Arsenal's version of Sergio Ramos. Dominance in the air that seems unstoppable. They say that you should never poke a bear, well Kyle Walker didn't know that, trying his best to distract Gabriel only to get dunked on. From the power that he moves with to the movement, it's almost centre forward-esque. When you're 6'3" tall and your players are able to provide that level of delivery, Arsenal are becoming inevitable from corners, as Nicolas Jova's magic worked once again, against a side that he used to work for. Since 2020 now, no centre-back in the Premier League has outscored Gabriel with 16 league goals, and he is only 6 goals away now from becoming Arsenal's top scoring defender in Premier League history, soon to overtake Laurent Koscielny. But what I loved the most was how he competed with Erling Haaland, not fazed by his antics, not even scared by his size, after an intense ending of the game where things got fiery. After the game, Gabriel said it's a battle, a war, and provocation is normal in football. Now it's over and we're waiting for them at our house. Moving on to the refereeing embarrassment. Just as Arsenal fans were getting over the decision against Brighton, here we are once again finding ourselves talking about the referees. Because in the 53rd minute after Arsenal had taken control, Michael Oliver gave Leandro Trossard a second yellow card for kicking the ball away, with the Premier League statement confirming that he received the yellow card because he was wasting time. Mikel Arteta's reaction was very telling, not believing it had happened once again. In the same game when Jeremy Doku kicked the ball away and nothing was given, one of the biggest games in world football was ruined because of a petty kick of the ball, despite there only being a 0.84 second difference between Oliver's whistle and Trossard kicking the ball away. It seemed like he couldn't wait to send the Arsenal player off. Mikel says if you played football or any sport, it's less than a second. Less than a second. The previous one from Doku is more than a second. That's it, it's simple. Even as Arsenal teammate Riccardo Calafiori saying, Referees have to do their job to keep the game a good watch. This kind of action, they don't have to put themselves too much. Leo didn't even hear the whistle. Come on, you have to do your job. When it comes to red cards, the bar should always be higher, especially when it's a second yellow. Only when the player's committed a blatant foul and you have no more choices. But after a first half of intense football full of high quality, the second half we had to park the bus because the referee had ruined the game. With Man City legend Mika Richards saying, yeah, he kicked the ball away and it's a sloppy yellow card, but it spoiled the game. In a big game like this, you just want a little bit of common sense. If you look at Doku, the one he kicks away, we want consistency. I'm at the stage now where all I want is a bit of common sense. The job of the referee is not to send players off, it's to keep the game fair. What advantage did Arsenal gain for Trossard kicking the ball away? Only 0.84 seconds after you blew your whistle. Here's where things get annoying though, because this time last year, after Arsenal beat City 1-0 with the Emirates, in a game where Mateo Kovacic had 2 far more blatant yellow cards, the same referee chose not to send him off, because according to Howard Webb, he didn't want to ruin the game. Now we're hearing letter of the law and the fact that he had no choices. But in a world where most teams are kicking the ball away after free kicks, why is it that it's only the Arsenal players getting punished? Michael Oliver has now sent off 7 Arsenal players in his career, more than any other team. It's not just the fans that feel helpless, but also the managers and players, finding it hard to even comment about these referees, because if they do, they'll get a ban. The job of the referee will not even be seen. Think about Clement Turpin in the game against Atalanta. How many times did you even think about the referee? Because he was professional and did his job well. The issue with the Premier League is the referee is always going to be the star of the show. Moving on to Arsenal's world-class deep block. To play 45 minutes with 10 men at the Etihad Stadium, a ground the City have not lost them since November 2022. As Mikel Arteta said after the game, 99 times out of 100, if you play 56 minutes with 10 men against City, you will lose. But Arsenal didn't. You then look at the stats and the fact that City had 77% possession, a whopping 92% field goals and 83 final third entries. Mikel Arteta was given no choice but to go into the 6-4 formation, the nastiest and most organised deep block in the world, holding off City to 1.04 XG in the second half from 24 shots, an average of 0.04 XG per shot. This for me was a confirmation that Arsenal had become the immovable object. To have defended so well for so long and nearly got 3 points, credit must go to David Raya with an 8.6 rating and goal, the highest rated Arsenal player for the second game running, with a whopping 9 saves and a 0.22 goals prevented, 6 saves inside the box and 18 passes completed. Raya now has a whopping 88% save rate in the league so far this season, the highest by a country mile. He is currently in a rich vein of form that I'd argue is world class. Even in terms of the Man City equaliser, if it wasn't for the block in front of him, he could have made a save. Even after the stone shot, a high foot nearly clears the ball over. Then you've got to talk about William Saliba. Despite only having a 6.9 rating, he had 8 clearances and 2 tackles, won 3 of his 3 ground balls and 3 in the air, still composed with a 92% passing accuracy. He has now made 18 tackles in the Premier League this season without getting dribbled a single time. I find it quite telling how Haaland tried to bully him, going into his face and trying to knock him over, almost trying to get revenge after Saliba bodied him last season. What Arsenal have is a player that doesn't get fazed by nothing. Erling Haaland might be elite at scoring goals, but Saliba relishes playing against him. In the second half with 10 men at his home ground, he could barely even lay a glove. What I see is a player who's being rattled by William Saliba, frustrated consistently and stopped from making an impact. A rivalry is definitely developing. But when talking about the amazing Arsenal deep block, you also have to talk about the shuttlers. The midfield three of Rice, Partey and Havertz in front, shifting side to side and blocking every single shot possible. It meant that 13 of Man City's second half shots were taken by Kyle Walker, Diaz and Akanji. These guys were showing elite levels of organisation, shifting over and cutting off passing lanes to make sure the City had it hard. This game was another example of Arsenal excelling in a suffering environment, showing elite levels of off-the-ball quality. In terms of Thomas Partey, he won 6 out of 9 ground balls, made 3 clearances, had 1 block shot, 1 interception and 3 tackles. While Kai Havertz might have not completed a single pass, he won 3 ground balls and 5 aerial balls, made a whopping 5 clearances and 1 block shot. In a game like this, his versatility was very important, providing Arsenal an outlet in the first half but their midfield cover in the second. There was a reason Man City favoured their right hand side over their left. Havertz was defending amazingly. To then face a 97-minute dagger after a game of so much suffering, being this close to getting a historic victory, I still believe that Arsenal were the psychological victors in going to their rivals' ground with 10 men, yet making it near impossible for them to score even with a disadvantage. Mikel Arteta is becoming one of the most complete managers in world football, able to coach one of the highest and most aggressive presses in the league, keep possession as good as a Guardiola side, yet defend in a Mourinho-esque low block. He's not the next Jose Mourinho, not the next Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp. He's becoming a mix of all of them. Moving on to the fourth thing, Arsenal's game-changing left-back. 22 years of age and making your debut at the Etihad, Riccardo Calafiori certainly had a very eventful day. Savinho was definitely causing him problems, with Calafiori being a very aggressive defender. It caught him out right at the start of the game, but this is his first start and it's going to take him time to adapt. What I loved the most was the fact that he was still able to impact the game, scoring an absolute worldie on his Premier League debut. The technique alone was simply sensational, followed by an even better celebration going towards Mikel Arteta. As Arteta says on Timber and Calafiori, they haven't played 90 minutes in this kind of context for sure, but they're so willing to help the team and we will find solutions. Calafiori was great again. To have debuted and start a Premier League game in this context, he has so much personality and quality, I was really impressed. The word personality certainly stands out the most. The arrogance to shoot from there in the first place in your first league game, show composure every time you're on the ball to go and make things happen. This guy is a maverick profile. As aggressive as it gets and always trying to make things happen. You think about his cameo against Atalanta in the midweek. Despite only being a left back, he gives his team more tempo, never allowing people to get comfortable. Also now have a player that can give their team a wake up call, provide a bit of magic to break through a press, and bring a game to life when things are dull. But in front of him we have to also credit Gabriel Martinelli. A 6.8 rating with 1 assist, 12 passes completed and 2 key passes. There was a lot of talk of why weren't also using him as an outlet, playing him higher up the pitch even with 10 men. But Mikel Arteta understood the game state, with Arsenal 2-1 up and not needing another goal. Why sacrifice any bit of defensive space to have the slightest bit of counter-attacking threat? What I love the most is Martinelli was once again making things out of nothing. He's now got his first goal contribution in 18 games, so hopefully that brings confidence. Also a shout out to Miles Lewis Skelly, becoming the first player potentially in Premier League history to get a yellow card before even making his debut. Moving on to the fifth thing, the Rivalry Evolution. The two teams going for the title once again, Pep Guardiola versus Mikel Arteta. But in a tie that we only saw 1 goal last season, where games have normally been like chess, this game felt like a proper rivalry. From Mikel Arteta celebrating Calafiori's goal with passion, to Pep Guardiola kicking his own seat, constant fights and brawls, Haaland versus Gabriel. The robots were starting to malfunction, with Haaland going over to Mikel Arteta at the end of the game, saying stay humble, followed by Gabriel Jesus getting in his face. To me, it's very telling how emotional Man City were, playing against 10 men for over 55 minutes at home, yet celebrating a draw like they'd won the title. Wasn't it Rodri last year talking about draws and mentality? Yet now you've got the big time formidable celebrating a draw at home. Just imagine it was Arsenal for a second, celebrating a draw at home after playing against 10 men for over 45 minutes and creating nothing. After the game you could tell that the players were emotional, with even Bernardo Silva comparing Arsenal to Liverpool, saying Liverpool always faces head on to win matches. From that perspective, how games against Arsenal haven't been like the matches against Liverpool were, and still are. That despite City not being Arsenal now for 17 months, going 4 games in a row without a win, and nearly losing at home against 10 men at their own ground. The reality is that Arsenal are doing things that City don't want to play against. We're not falling into their bait and being naive. Why give Erling Haaland space to attack and make things easy for him? Mikel Arteta has made this Arsenal side wise, street smart once again and mentally stronger. To the fact that we've now gone to 3 of our most toughest away games of the year. Villa Park, Spurs and City, without our captain for 2 of the games and a red card, yet still got 2 wins and 1 draw. Against the Big Six we are now undefeated in 12 games, with 7 wins and 5 draws. As Arsenal fans we've all seen the late days on the Arsene Wenger. Great football yes, but naive and always caught on the big games. It's so satisfying to now see an Arsenal side not scared to use dark arts. But after the game when John Stone was asked about Arsenal's time wasting tactics, he says they've done it for a few years now and we know what to expect. You can call it clever or dirty, it upsets the rhythm for everyone. They use it to their advantage and I thought we dealt with it really well. Dark arts are what we've seen many sides use against Arsenal for so long. Think about prime Jose Mourinho and prime Sir Alex Ferguson, 2 of the most successful managers of all time. Why is it that it's only Mikel Arteta that gets criticised for it? Well, as George Graham once said, it's fine. People hate us and it's a part of our history. We're not here to make friends, we're here to go and win a title. And things could be about to get that much more intriguing because of Rodri, taken off in the game in the first half after holding his knee. The breaking news comes from ESPN who now confirmed that Rodri is set to miss the rest of the season after sustaining an ACL rupture in his right knee. Without a proper backup number 6, City could be in trouble, forced to play either Gundogan there or Kovacic. But at the same time, I don't want to hear no excuses. When Liverpool lost Virgil van Dijk in 2020, people criticised them. Likewise the case with William Saliba in 2023. If things now do go in Arsenal's favours, I don't want to hear no disclaimers and excuses. City made a choice not to sign a backup number 6. If it hurts them, it's only going to be their fault. That is the video there and there though, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of his social medias, then the links are down in the description. But that was the 5 things we learned from Man City 2, Arsenal 2. Yes, we didn't quite get the historic victory, but having seen that performance there, I believe that Arsenal are closer than ever before, and this might just be up here, especially after Rodri news. So as for my friends, stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.